So you want to learn how to make $30,000 a month coaching athletes online. Well, lucky for you, I've helped dozens of sports coaches do that online. And in this video, I'm going to walk you through one particular example of a client that just last month hit their first $30,000 a month. And just a few months ago, they were barely making $5,000 a month. I'm going to walk you through the adjustments that they made in order to actually make that jump to the next level. If this is your first time here, my name is Nick. I run an online consulting company helping sports coaches start and grow their coaching businesses online so that way they can reach more athletes, make more money, have a bigger impact, and ultimately create the life that they truly want. If you're a returning subscriber, welcome back. I got an absolute banger for you. Without further ado, let's dive in. So this coach in particular, let's talk about their starting point, okay? So about 90 days ago, they were making 5K-ish a month. And they were doing okay for themselves, right? Like they used to work a 9-to-5 job. Now they're doing coaching full time. So, you know, I have to tip my hat to this person for actually having, you know, the stones to go full time for it, right? But their starting point, they were like 5K-ish a month. They had like maybe 8,000 followers on Instagram, which they obviously built up over time. And then on YouTube, they had like, you know, I don't know, they probably have like 100 YouTube subscribers. This client in particular doesn't use their YouTube exceptionally well, okay? And this is a baseball coach, right? So they're making about $5,000 a month. They have 8,000 followers on Instagram and only 100 YouTube subscribers. Now, the biggest levers that they pulled, number one is lead flow. Okay, so once somebody goes from like zero to maybe $5,000 a month or even $10,000 a month, and they're doing it strictly all organic, they're not running any ads, that's great. And I have clients that, you know, make $100,000 a month all organic. But once somebody starts to make about $5,000 to $10,000 a month, I recommend they start running paid advertising. The reason why I tell people to wait until about 5K a month is because you want to prove that people are going to buy your offer and that you have your message dialed in, right? See, a lot of people, and this is even true for like, I have clients that join my program with like 50,000 followers and they struggle to make sales. And the reason why is because their messaging and their offer is not dialed in. Right? They don't have one specific type of person that they're going after. They don't have one specific offer or outcome that they're trying to push. And so running paid advertising, all advertising is it's a magnifying glass on what you're already doing. So if your process is absolutely terrible, then you're going to magnify something that's absolutely terrible. Fortunately enough, this client, you know, their process was already fairly dialed in and they were like, I want to go fast. I'm like, all right, you're going to run paid ads, okay? And so the way that paid ads works is like this. I can spend, let's say, $2 to $3 to get a message on Instagram, okay? And right now, this client is currently booking sales calls for about $50 per call, okay? So like 1 out of 25 messages, they're turning into a sales call, right? Which is, you know, $50 a call. A lot of people would look at, if you don't know anything about paid advertising, you would look at $2 to $3 a message and then $50 a call, and you would think that they were doing something wrong. However, that couldn't be further from the truth. $50 a call, here's the thing. He's getting 80% of people to show up to the call and 50% close. Okay? So he's getting 50% of people to close. Okay? He's getting 80% of people to show up. So realistically, he's literally paying like somewhere around $250 to acquire a new client. Keep in mind, he charges $3,500 for his program. So if we look at this discrepancy, we're paying $250 to make $3,500 back. Now let me ask you a question. If every single time you gave me $1, I gave you at least $10 back, how many dollars would you give me? If your answer is not all of your dollars, then I suggest you go get that checked out. Because that is crazy, right? It's absolutely crazy. He has an infinite money printer, and now he's constrained because he's able to actually basically pay money to get more money in exchange, aka more clients. And the thing about it is he's going to retain a lot of these athletes too. So he can basically start trading money for clients, okay? And these clients are going to be worth a lot more money to him than he's paying. Okay, so that's the first thing. The second thing, hiring. So when this client was right around like 10 to 15,000 a month, about 45 days into them running ads, they were starting to scale slowly, right? Because at first he was like a little bit apprehensive about spending more on paid advertising, which most people are, because it's a gamble. Right? The thing about paid advertising, and this changed the entire perception for me, is a mentor told me that you need to see paid advertising as gambling. And when I saw it that way, I was like, okay, well, if I'm going to gamble when I paid advertise, I'm only going to gamble an amount of money that I'm comfortable losing. And for this client at the time, it was, $1,000, right? So they ended up making like $10,000 the next month. And then they spent, $3,000. They made like $15,000. And then we continue to progress, right? But he was getting so many messages per day that we had to hire an appointment setter. Okay? And so what this appointment setter did is they were able to go into this client's inbox and message the people that were reaching out and booking appointments with this client, right? And so that allowed this client to get all of their time back going from like messaging these people, because that's what a lot of people say. They're like, oh, I don't want to spend all day messaging these people. It's like, well, you have to do it at first, right? But then as you grow your business, you can hire a commission-only appointment setter, right? So this appointment setter makes 10% commission on all the deals that they close, or all the deals that, my client ends up closing. Right? So they hired an appointment setter and they were getting pretty maxed out with what they were doing in person. And so they paid this coach, and they're paying their coach $1,000 base up to 10 athletes. And then it's $100 per month per athlete. So meaning, if they had like, let's say 8 athletes, they'd make $1,000. But if they had 15, they'd make $1,500, okay? And then you can incentivize the coach based on retaining athletes month over month over month, right? But what this allowed this client to do is now they could focus on acquisition, AKA getting more athletes. Acquisition, I've forgotten either. Oh well. Okay, so this client was now focusing on acquisition, right? Which brings us to number 3, which is marketing, okay? So this client was obviously doing fairly well, like, making $5,000 a month online. Most people can never do that because they don't have the stones to actually try, right? And so the people in my program that actually make $5, $10, $15, $20, $30,000 a month, they just don't quit. They just do what I say, and they do it over and over and over again. Not from an egotistical perspective, but it's like we've helped hundreds of people do this exact process. So all you have to do is just follow the blueprint and it's gonna work, right? But most people, they cast all these limiting beliefs over why it's not gonna work for them. This client didn't do that. And by the way, if you want to learn how I can help you directly do something like this, let's say make $30,000 a month coaching athletes online, check out the first link in the description. But what this client did with their marketing is they dialed in they're messaging even more. Okay, and messaging is essentially, who are we trying to go after? What problem are we trying to solve? What are the outcomes that they actually want? What are the circumstances that they have? And speaking directly to that, right? What is the message that we're trying to send by the marketing material that we're creating? And so he really created what's called polarity, okay? And so this client did this, okay? So he planted his flag in the sand over here and said, this is what I stand for. And he said, this group over here, this is what I stand against. And he just pushed that message into the market over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. And over time, this is why a lot of people cannot scale to $30, $50, $100,000 a month, right? And this is something that kept me stuck for a while too, is because it pushes people one way or the other. So you want your marketing to be polarizing. You want to create that polarity. And so he was saying, hey, everybody who agrees with me, come over here. We're going to have a party. And everybody who doesn't agree with me, go over here. And you guys are all wrong. And I don't agree with anything you guys are saying, right? And so he started to get a little bit of hate. He started to get people who were like, I don't know who this guy thinks he is. Like, they were calling him a liar. And he came to me and he was like, yo, dude, like, I'm starting to get a little bit of hate. I don't know how to deal with this. I'm like, bro, keep going with it, because I promise you, like, this attention is going to be good for you, right? The easiest way to win the presidential election is make half the country hate you. And so that's essentially what he was doing, is he was making half the baseball market hate him. The next month after he did that, he hit his first $20,000 month. And so then I was just like, bro, just spend more money on your advertising. You know, I think he spent like $6,000 or something like that last month and made $30,000. And now he's able to, you know, hire people. He has 2 people now that he's able to hire that rely on him. And he likes that responsibility because he is so sold on what he's doing. He has taken a moral responsibility to push his message out there. That's how seriously he takes it. And so here's the thing about scaling to $30,000 a month. It's really not that difficult, okay? A lot of people think it's like super, super difficult. You gotta be some special, super psychotic type of human being. It's really not. It's really not that hard. Most people just don't have the stones to get going. They don't have the stones to be hated. They don't have the stones to have responsibility to pay other people and put food on their table, right? So if you actually want to make $30,000 a month coaching athletes online, this is what it takes. It's super, super simple. You just actually have to do the work. So if you want my help directly to actually do this and you want to scale, like let's say you're an online coach who maybe you're just starting out, or maybe you're already making $5,000 to $10,000 a month, you want to scale past $30,000 a month. I had 2 clients make over $50K last month, which is pretty sweet. Then you can check out the first link in the description. If you want to keep watching these videos for free on YouTube, that's 100% cool too. I'm fine with it either way. I'm here to provide value. Either way, hopefully you guys got a ton of value out of this. Catch you in the next one. Peace.